each one of you, everyone, especially to you, Ma'am Kawasaki. So before we proceed to our discussion, I would like to introduce myself first. By the way, I am Crystal Jean Kilaton and I am the group leader.
I'm Iman Valeria Baba. I'm the PowerPoint maker.
I am Shimar Madmat and I'm the energizer.
I am Maria Erica Villar, the first reporter.
And I am Riza Villanueva, the second reporter.
So, before we proceed to our discussion, we prepared an energizer to boost our energy. So, let's go!
청이야 좋아하는 랜덤 게임 랜덤 게임 게임 스타트 아파트 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 kissy face sent to your phone but I'm tryna kiss your lips for real red hearts that's what I'm on yeah come give me something I can feel don't you want me like I want you baby don't you need me like I need you now see tomorrow but tonight go crazy all you gotta do is just meet me at the 아파트 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 아파트
So, that's our energizer. So, let's proceed to our discussion.
So reporters,
So our topic is genetic engineering.
Biotechnology is a general term used and describe the modification of biological process through human intervention.
This may be done through genetic engineering. This aims to improve traits of certain organisms. They can choose and isolate a single gene for desired trait and transfer such gene from one organism to another.
The recipient becomes GMO or a transgenic organism.
excuse me, I have a question for you. If it's okay lang, so what is the biotechnology?
Biotechnology is a field of science that involves the uses of living organism cells or biotechnological system to develop products, process, or technologies that improve human life and environment.
And also, what is the meaning of GMO?
GMO stands for genetically modified organism. It refers to any organism such as a plant, animal, or microorganism whose genetic material has been altered using genetic engineering techniques.
Thank you. You can proceed to your next discussion.
So what is genetic engineering?
Genetic engineering is the process of using recombinant DNA or rDNA technology to alter the genetic makeup of an organism. Traditionally, humans manipulated genomes indirectly by controlling breeding and selecting offspring with desired traits.
Genetic engineering involves the direct manipulation of one or more genes. Most often, a gene from another species is added to an organism genome to give it desired phenotype. It is also a process of altering the genes which you find in all living things. It involves the transfer of genes or parts of DNA from one organism to another. Organisms whose genes are altered or modified or specific process are called transgenic organisms.
I have a question again. So, what is the meaning of DNA?
DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It is the molecule that carries genetic information in all living organisms and many viruses.
Thank you.
Genetic engineering, also called genetic modification or genetic manipulation, is the direct manipulation of an organism genes using biotechnology. It is a set of technologies used to change the genetic makeup of cells, including the transfer of genes within and across species boundaries to produce improved or novel organisms.
New DNA is obtained by either isolating and copying the genetic materials of interest using recombinant DNA methods or by artificially Sizing the DNA. An organism that is generated through genetic engineering is considered to be genetically modified, and the resulting entity is the genetically modified organism or GMO.
Genetic engineering has a huge array of applications, for instance surgery, animal husbandry, medicine, and agricultural. With genetic engineering, many crop species have developed immunity to most lethal disease. Genetic engineering has also helped to increase yields at the farm.
Today, wide-ranging crop species which are genetically modified to achieve high nutrient value and faster and higher productivity. These days, more and more countries are embracing genetically engineered crops to fight scarcity of food, offer highly nutritious food, grow and cultivate crops that are immune to various disease and pests.
So, here are the process of genetic engineering. So, let's proceed to the process of genetic engineering. First, identification of an organism that exhibit the desired trait or gene of interest. First, scientists identify an organism that has a specific trait or gene they want to incorporate into another organism.
Second, extracting the DNA from that organism. DNA extract, the DNA is extracted from the identified organism.
So let's proceed to number 3. Through a process called gene cloning, one desired one gene receipt must be located and copied from thousands of genes that were extracted. A specific gene of interest is located and copied from the extract DNA using a process called gene cloning.
Fourth, the gene is slightly modified to work in a more desirable way once it is inserted inside the recipient organism. The clone gene is then modified slightly to function optimally in the new host organism.
The fifth, the transformation process occurs when new gene called a transgene is delivered into cells of the recipient organism. The most common transformation technique uses bacteria that naturally genetically engineering plants with its own DNA. The transgene is inserted into bacteria which then delivers into cells of the organism being engineered.
Sixth, the characteristics stay.
Ano, sabi na, wala pa kita ka-explain.
Ina, kapoy na ko na rin ha.
Wala pa Pero siya ba, to the point na
Dapat ang mga usik ko ninyo to, kaya ko
Number 5.
So let's proceed to number 5. The transformation process occurs when new gene called a transgenic is delivered into cells of the recipient's organism. The most common transformation technique uses bacteria that naturally genetically engineering plants with its own DNA. The transgene is inserted into the bacteria which delivers into cells of the organism being engineered. The modified gene known as a transgene is included into the recipient organism cells. This is often done using bacteria as vectors. The bacteria carry the transgene and insert into the host cells.
6. The characteristics of the final product is improved through the process called traditional breeding. When modifying a bacterium, the most common method of this final step is to add the isolated gene to a plasmid, a circular piece of DNA used by bacteria. This is done by cutting the plasmid with the same restriction enzyme that was used to remove the gene from the original DNA. The new gene can now be inserted into this opening and the plasmid and the DNA can be bonded back together using another enzyme called ligase. This process creates a recombinant plasmid, which is also known as bacterial artificial chromosome. After the transformation, traditional breeding methods are sometimes used to improve or stabilize the traits in the final organism.
Okay, question. Since you're talking about genes, can you please explain what is genes?
Genes are segments of DNA that contain the instructions for building and maintaining an organism.
Okay, proceed.
So, what are the uses of genetic engineering? The process of doing genetic engineering includes repairing a genetic defect, in case enhancing an effect already natural to the organism, e.g. to increase its growth rate, increase resistance to disease or external damage, e.g. crops, bright color, and growth. Genetic microorganism to produce human insulin for diabetes, or a sheep to produce a human blood cloning protein in her milk, in both cases transgenic methods. Getting a tomato to ripen without going squishy, this can be done simply by taking one of its gone genes, turning its pattern upside down, and putting it back again. GMO, genetically modifies organism. So, here are some examples of GMO. Papaya. Hawaii is well documented as place where genetically modified papaya trees have been cultivated and grown since 1999. Soy. Statistically, over 90% of soybeans available in the marketplace today are genetically engineered to naturally resist a herbicide known as Roundup. Next, eggplant. Eggplant, also known as zucchini, is another food product that it is widely genetically modified. Cotton. Cotton is very susceptible to disease, insects, and pests. It is heavily modified to boost yields and resistant to pests and disease. Corn. Corn also makes the list of the most genetically modified foods. Sugar. Sugar beets are surprisingly modified due to high demand in countries like USA, Canada, and Europe. Milk. These days, dairy cows are increasingly being genetically modified with growth hormones to enable faster growth and beef up of yields. Canola oil, harnessed from rapeseed oil, according to studies, it is most well-known genetically modified oil in the world.
Pros and cons of genetically modified foods. Pros: higher yields, provide all-round quality and taste. Disease resistance, more nutritious. Balik biyawa. Pros and cons of genetically modified foods. Pros: higher yields, provide all-round quality and taste. Disease resistance, more nutritious, longer shelf life, used in the creation of vaccines. Ecological benefits, lower risk of crop failure. Cons: can bring about allergies, may lead to environmental degradation, respiration, soil erosion, depletion of the ozone layer, air, and water pollution. Bear no economic value. Causes gene escape. GMOs have reduced resistance to antibiotics. Genetic escapes are plants or animals that are either not native to an area or have been selectively bred or genetically modified and have escaped from marine cultural enclosures. Escape pose a threat to ecological and socioeconomical stability if they compete with or prey upon native species. What is cloning? Cloning is the process of production individuals with identical or virtually identical DNA, either naturally or artificially. In nature, many organisms produce clones through asexual reproduction. Cloning in biotechnology refers to the process of creating exact copies of cells or DNA fragments. It is a method that scientists use to produce a genetic copy of another individual. In 1997, a 7-month-old sheep named Dolly became a celebrity. Dolly is the first cloned animal.
So that's all for tonight. I hope nakasabot na sa among report. And yeah. Bye!